Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be another Canadian Soldier Reacts video, and today we're looking at Sweden's military power in 2024. Apparently, Sweden is NATO's newest member. I don't think I've ever worked with the Swedish armed forces at all. I think they were like pretty firmly neutral when I was in. So this is going to be a bit of an education for me also. So let's get into it. I love how they always do these really dramatic shots when they first start these videos out.
Sweden's military power is often overlooked and overshadowed by larger and louder countries.
I like the way they put that too, larger and louder. So this is also interesting. These guys are obviously formed up in a parade square type of a situation. They've got their berets on. Yeah, they wouldn't wear their berets in the field, but they've got camo on. This is just for show, and their ears are not like this guy's that are done, but this guy's aren't. So, I mean, this is obviously a parade situation. It's all for show.
However, the Swedish armed forces
Oh, I don't know what that was. That's a Black Hawk by the look of it.
Technological innovation, a rich military.
So this is interesting. If this is what I think it is, we used to do this all the time. This would be we call this a sand model, essentially. But whenever we were doing an operation or an attack, we would try to build a reasonably large terrain model. So this obviously is a battalion. I mean, if I'm reading this correctly, and maybe I'm not, and if I'm not, you know, let me know down in the comments, but this looks like a battalion level assault. You can see the arrow here. I'm guessing that's pointing north. And I'm guessing this is a grid square, but you know, like I said, I could be wrong. But we would do this. We would create these terrain models so that we knew, obviously, this is going to be a copse of woods and another copse of woods, and I don't know, maybe a river or something down here. I'm not sure exactly what all of this means. But we would go through this so that every single person, section, platoon, company would know exactly where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do at any given point in time, and go through contingency plans. So if I'm reading this correctly, this is a pretty standard and important to infantry battalion attacks. Like I said, this is a full battalion.
Tradition and a determined focus.
That almost looks like an FN. So when but with one of those flip folding stocks, when I first get in, we had the FNC1, which was made by Fabrique Nationale, very similar to the FNFAL, obviously made by Fabrique Nationale. 7.62 millimeter. I'd be surprised if anything was 7.62 these days. I don't really know what this is. I'm just kind of guessing here.
On defending the nation's interests.
Oh, there's four-star general.
Security concerns and a changing geopolitical landscape, Sweden has shifted its defense strategy.
Oh wow, they're still using old paper maps. That's good. That's very good.
Resulting in its decision.
So, yeah, that looks for all the world like an FN, but I'm not really sure. Interesting. They're all formed up in a field situation. Don't know what's going on.
To apply for NATO membership.
Marines, I'm assuming?
Indicates a growing emphasis on military readiness and cooperation.
Oh, nice.
In this video, we will meticulously examine the military prowess of Sweden, delving into its defense budget, manpower, and specialized hardware.
Oh, that's interesting. Surface-laid mines. I'm not sure why they would be doing that, but I mean, there's got to be a reason.
Watch till the end, because you'll be surprised to learn about Sweden's military capabilities. Sweden is on an upward trajectory in global military rankings.
Well, that's good.
According to the Global Firepower Index of 2024, Sweden is ranked 29th out of 145 countries.
So I think Canada is rated like 26th or 27th on that same index. But the thing about that is Sweden, if I remember correctly, Sweden has somewhere around 10 million odd population, where Canada has 39 million population. So for them to be, one or two behind us, with literally, a quarter of our population, yeah, that is embarrassing.
This position reflects both Sweden's.
Oh, so I give a lot of these people a hard time in a lot of these videos because they're always covering their faces, right? And it's always for operational security. Yeah, that's a crock. If you're talking members of a battalion, or a field artillery unit or something like that, their identities are irrelevant. In this case, that's just warmth. You could see it on, I think it was this girl's face earlier. You can see the frost there. So I can absolutely understand wanting to be warm. I'm still kind of struck by this weapon. I'm wondering if this is a 5.56 version of an FN. Might be.
Strengths and its potential for growth on the international stage.
That looks like a 50 cal or something bigger.
For 2024 shows.
Okay, so there were actually, let me go back just a second.
National stage. The defense budget.
So there were two different things here. So we had, for night vision, and again, my night vision was a lot older than this, so things have changed radically since I was in. But we had Starlight Scope, which would have been something, smaller. It actually could fit. It was actually a scope. It could fit on your weapon, although we almost never used it that way. And then our larger one was called a Noddler. In fact, it was even bigger than this. It was about that size this way, but it was probably about 3 times as long, maybe. So, but the fact that they're getting a lot better night vision equipment now is really quite good. And that actually, you never know, but that looks like it could be a pretty good flak vest. Canada's flak vests were never rated to stop a bullet. And this is what was told to us when we got the flak vests, when they first, like, we had an old style, which were terrible, and then we got the new upgraded version in, I want to say, the late 80s, early 90s, something like that. They told us that it wasn't meant to stop us from being killed. It was meant to stop our guts from coming out the back of us and spraying the people behind us, thereby demoralizing the troops around us when we died. So, yay, Canada.
Budget for 2024 shows a significant increase, with more than $2.4 billion added compared to 2023, marking a 28%
2.4 billion. Sorry, can't speak today. $2.4 billion increase. Okay.
Totaling $11.3 billion.
Okay, so I did some searching, looking a couple of times. I've done several times looking for Canada's defense budget. And typically, there's a whole bunch of gobbledygook out there. Every time you see a Okay, we're going to cut that. And cut in 3, 2, 1. Every time you see a budget out of Canada, you get about 40 lines of this many millions or billions of dollars over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And that's all politicians speak for. We're going to promise you this, but in somebody else's administration, and therefore it will never come to fruition. So I don't really know how much Canada is spending on the military. What I do know is Canada has a GDP of $2.13 trillion, And they're saying that they want to get to 1.76% spending on military budgets by 2029, 2030. So they're less than 1%, they're less than 1.76% of the $2 trillion budget right now. I don't know exactly how much, but that's on a population of 39 million. Whereas if these guys are spending 11.3 billion, I know that they've got a budget of, a GDP of 591 billion, with a population of 10.6 million. So they've got just about a quarter of the population of Canada, and they're spending about their GDP is about a quarter of what Canada's is. And they're, if I'm doing the math correctly, 11 billion out of 500 billion, I think that's 2%, right? So I think they're ahead of Canada already.
This boost effectively doubles the defense budget since 2020.
Oh, that's some nice gear this guy's got. So yeah, I like this a lot lighter than what we would have had when we were in. And looking at this, well, that's at least a 7.62, probably larger. I don't know exactly what that is. This looks to be some sort of a marine deployment, obviously. So anyway,
since 2020, aligning with Sweden's commitment.
Oh, I'm guessing this is some sort of a fast attack patrol boat kind of a thing, used for shoreline defense.
To meet NATO's spending goals.
That looks like a Black Hawk.
Including dedicating 2% of GDP to defense and allocating at least 20% of this budget to new equipment procurement.
There you go.
On
So
March 7th,
they look like they're making a good faith effort to meet NATO's budget targets. Whereas I'll be honest with you, I don't think Canada is making a good faith budget. If you're trying to get to, with a country as large and as old as Canada, if you're trying to get to 1.76 by 2030, 7 years from now, you're not making a good faith effort. I'm sorry. This almost looks like a leopard.
2024.
Canada uses leopards.
From its historical stance of military non-alignment to become the 32nd member of NATO. This strategic move is part of Sweden.
So computers in the military, I'm hoping Canada is taking computer warfare a lot more seriously now. They weren't really when I was in the early 90s. We were using civilian databases. Well, I mean, they probably still would be using civilian databases, but we as a unit, as 1RCR, we had to go out and get our own, and we would use those. We would use flat files to do, when we were deployed, to do profiles on the local commanders and people like that. I was in combat intelligence, but it was all really kind of cobbled together. I'm hoping that there's something much more cohesive now.
Sweden's broader commitment to bolster its defense and international partnerships. Sweden's armed forces comprise 24,400 active personnel and
so 24,000 active personnel, whereas Canada has 68,000 active personnel. So they've got about a third. So they got about a quarter of our population and about a third of our active personnel. Again, I mean, Sweden is doing better in every category of spending so far that I've seen.
11,400 reserves, with the Home Guard adding 21,500 members.
Yeah,
The reintroduction of mandatory conscription for both men and women in 2017 underscores Sweden's commitment to preparedness and...
Oh, that looked like it might have been a Carl G or something like it. Obviously, this is their... this is one of their hospital setups. This looks like one of those inflatable tents. Those are pretty cool.
Resilience, aiming to train 8,000 conscripts annually by 2024.
8,000. Okay, so conscripts. I am actually a fan of conscripts. Or, at least 1 year, maybe even 3 years of mandatory military service for everyone. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to do everyone, but if you were doing 8,000 a year, I mean, that's not nothing, And a lot of those are going to be, useless and washouts, but you're going to get some good people out of that. I'm actually a fan.
This method has a crucial role in maintaining military readiness.
Absolutely.
It provides a steady stream of trained individuals.
Kit layouts, I like it.
To supplement the active duty force and reserves. This ensures that Sweden can rapidly scale its military effectiveness in case of a crisis.
That didn't even look like they were rappelling. That looked like they were not even belaying them down. That looks like they were winching them down.
Additionally, conscription helps to foster a sense of national
I don't like the earring, but Canada's relaxed its dress standards too, so.
Duty and a wider understanding of military affairs.
Yeah, I hope they say what this is.
Within the Swedish population. Sweden's military arsenal features an array of advanced equipment.
Oh, so this is nice. It's my understanding that Canada's gotten rid of its self-propelled artillery pieces. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the wheeled self-propelled artillery, but I mean it's better than towed to my estimation. But I'm not a gunner, so I don't know.
Equipment across its army, air force, and navy, reflecting its
that ship's cool.
Defense strategy. The AK-5 is the current service rifle of the Swedish Armed Forces. However, they will transition to the Finnish AK-24 assault rifle,
AK-5
expected to be fully.
I think the AK-5, if I remember correctly, is a 5.56, and it's built by Fabrique Nationale. If you know better than I do, if you know who makes the AK-5, let me know down in the comments. But I'm guessing, just based on the look of it, that it's an FN.
Implemented by 2025. The
Fabrique
Sweden
Nationale.
Army's arsenal includes.
And yeah, that looks for all the world like a Leopard tank.
It's a range of main battle tanks, such as the Stridsvagn 122, derived from the German Leopard 2.
There you go.
Highlighting its heavy armor and firepower.
Yeah, Canada uses Leopard 2s, I believe, or they were Leopard 2s when I was there. From what I'm told, and I got a bunch of friends in the RCDs, Royal Canadian Dragoons, which are one of the two tankers. There's the RCDs and Lord Strathcona's Horse, I believe. And I think there's one other. I think there's a French unit too, who are the armored. And they tell me that the Leopard 2, Leopard 2A2, I believe, was quite a good vehicle.
For mobility and infantry support.
That is low profile. Wow. Tracked vehicle. I mean, it's not an M113 variant by any stretch. It would almost be a Lynx variant, to be honest. Doesn't look like it would carry a lot of troops, but that looks like a larger than 30 millimeter main gun on that. That might even be a 76 millimeter main gun.
Armored fighting vehicles.
Oh yeah, that's a 76 millimeter main gun. Holy crap, that's big for an AIFV. That is very big. Really sloped front plate too.
The CV 9040 series.
So if anyone has any experience with the CV 9040, let me know down in the comments below, please.
Play a pivotal role. The Army's
Looks good.
artillery capability is underscored by the Archer self-propelled howitzer, offering long-range support with precision.
That looked like a 120 millimeter.
Air Force relies heavily on the JAS-39 Gripen.
So I don't know anything about Air Force.
Jet, known for its agility and multi-role capabilities.
I've said this before, but the only thing I know about the Air Force is I think Canada counts its planes in the tens. I'm not even sure that we've got 100, and it would be a C-17, I think.
The NH-90 and Sikorsky UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters are used for utility and medical purposes, respectively.
Interesting.
Additionally, the Air Force operates several drones, such as the
Several.
Skylark and AeroVironment RQ-20, for battlefield surveillance.
That makes it sound like there's not a lot.
reconnaissance.
I gotta say, if every military in the world isn't learning from what's going on in Ukraine right now and how drones are being used both offensively and defensively, then they're going to be in for an amazingly rude awakening if hostilities ever break out. Drones, small drones, first-person view drones, civilian drones cannot be underestimated when you look at the effectiveness that the Ukrainian military have brought with a $500 drone and a multi-million-dollar tank.
Sweden's surface and submarine fleet are key indicators of its naval might. Health characteristics and adaptable weapon systems of the Visby-class corvettes are examples.
That's a nice looking Corvette. Now, again, not Navy, and I don't have Chief Art here. Art, if you're watching, let me know down in the comments if you know anything about these ships. They're a nice looking ship. I just don't know if they're useful for anything or not. I can't see any obvious weapons systems on them, but obviously they've got to be there.
Of the latest technological breakthrough.
Oh, that person, I don't know who it was, had black nail polish. In Canada, well, again, when I was there, I don't think you were allowed to have any kind of nail polish whatsoever. But that might have been relaxed when all of the rest of the dress rigs. I'll be honest with you. Looking at these people right here, first of all, they're Navy. And Navy is always looked down upon as the slackest looking of any of the armed forces in Canada. And secondly, they look significantly better than the current Canadian infantry looks in any of the pictures that I've seen recently. And when I was there, dress and deportment were absolutely paramount. So, I mean, good on them. Like, these are actually pretty good looking naval personnel.
Utilized in surface combatants. The Navy's Gotland-class non-nuclear submarine fleet is renowned
Non-nuclear submarine. So I assume that means a diesel fleet.
for its advanced underwater performance, focusing on stealth and operational versatility in the Baltic Sea.
Again, this is a civilian just reading from an Orbit.
Is further complemented by minesweepers and patrol boats, such as the Steerso class, which also contribute to mine clearance operations.
So it looks like they're geared very much towards defense and not really extending their operational capabilities outside their borders right now.
The growing importance of advanced technologies in modern warfare. As a result, the country is investing heavily in electronic warfare and
Oh, that's good.
electronic warfare.
Yeah, if you're not already investing in electronic warfare and counter warfare, you are so far behind that you're in trouble.
Involves disrupting or manipulating enemy communications and radar systems, providing a tactical advantage on the battlefield. It has developed sophisticated electronic warfare systems designed to protect its own forces and degrade the threat of adversaries.
Yeah, there's so much you could do on the modern battlefield with computer networking capability. To gain such an advantage, of course, then again, if you rely too much on that advantage and the enemy takes it, like, it's always a give and take, right? It's definitely a difficult balance.
In cyber defense, Sweden understands the threat of attacks on critical infrastructure and military networks. They're
That's
continuously
good.
strengthening their cyber defenses.
I would assume
Developing
Canada's
both
got the same.
defensive measures.
Hey, that looks a lot like a Unimog. Canada got a vehicle very similar to this after I got out. I think they might have started getting them in 98 when I was there. I'm not sure, but I never rode in one of them. But it looks quite similar to this.
To protect their systems and offensive capabilities to potentially target hostile actors.
That's cool.
A major driver of Sweden's technological edge is its robust indigenous defense industry. Companies like SAAB are at the forefront of aerospace and defense technology.
That's very good.
It produces advanced radar systems, naval combat systems, and a variety of missiles and guided weapons. This
You've got to be
self-reliance
innovating.
in critical defense technologies gives Sweden significant autonomy and reduces its reliance on foreign suppliers. The country places a strong
Absolutely critical.
emphasis on protecting the critical Baltic Sea region. Their navy
Understandable.
excels in submarine warfare with the stealthy Gotland-class submarines and the upcoming A-26 vessels. These submarines use advanced air-independent propulsion for extended underwater missions.
Air-independent propulsion. I'm not sure what that means.
Making them ideal for operations in the Baltic's shallow waters. The A-26 class will also be capable of deploying remotely operated vehicles and autonomous vehicles for enhanced seabed surveillance.
Yeah, again,
The Swedish Air Force focuses
You're
on
gonna have
air
to.
superiority and surveillance, primarily through the versatile JAS-39 Gripen fighter jets. These aircraft
Nice
are
looking
critical
jet.
to maintaining air dominance and providing rapid response. Advanced surveillance systems further enhance their situational awareness in the region.
situational awareness is key. If you know where they are, you can reach out and touch them.
The Swedish Army prioritizes
I have no idea what that is.
and mechanized units for swift deployment.
That looks like a lightly armored vehicle. And when I say lightly armored, I mean some kind of armor and armament. Although I don't know that I'd want to be sitting up in that turret, cupola, whatever the heck that is. But, you know, better than an unarmored vehicle.
Across varied terrain. They also possess highly skilled
Blackhawk.
special forces units trained for reconnaissance, direct action, and covert operations.
Good.
This equips Sweden with a well-rounded defense against both traditional and unconventional threats.
So it looks like they've got their bases
As
covered.
nations around the world watch the unfolding events in Ukraine, the importance of being prepared for any eventuality
Yep.
has never been clearer.
Oh, yeah.
The Swedish Armed Forces' ongoing modernization and
Oh, that looks
expansion
nice.
efforts are not just about enhancing
I have no
national
idea what that is. We've seen this one before. Yeah, I have no idea what that vehicle was.
security. They also demonstrate Sweden's commitment to promoting a stable, secure, and peaceful international order.
Very cool.
In an era marked by uncertainty,
So their field cap seems to be a baseball cap. That's interesting. All of our field caps have always been something that covered just out a little bit, at least from our head. We had an actual field cap. It was kind of like a bucket hat that came out about yay far. We went to the Tilly hat for a little while, but my sergeant major refused to let us wear them in the Gulf War because the doctors and nurses were wearing them, and they looked like bags of crap. 5 pounds of crap in a 1 pound bag.
Sweden's military power and
I have no idea what kind of rocket launcher that is. A Stinger missile, maybe?
strategic initiatives serve
Yeah, I think
as
it's a Stinger.
reminder of the critical role that preparedness and deterrence play in safeguarding freedom and democracy in the face of global challenges.
So, very cool. It looks like Sweden is bringing everything, to be honest, it looks like Sweden's bringing everything to the table that Canada is. And the fact that Sweden is ranked, 2 or 3 places lower than Canada, with 1/3 of Canada's military population and 1/4 of Canada's overall population, really tells you something about how much emphasis Sweden is putting on their military versus Canada. And like I said earlier in the video, it's kind of embarrassing that countries like this that are so much smaller than Canada, to be honest, are showing us up, at least in the commitment to the forces, and to and the size, but that's commitment to the forces by the civilian government. So, all in all, from what I see here, I mean, obviously this is a propaganda video, but it looks like Sweden is a very useful addition to NATO. On maybe not quite on par with Canada, but pretty darn close. And if they keep up the way that they're going, I have no doubts, and Canada keeps up the way that Canada is going, I have no doubts that Sweden will surpass Canada by the time Canada, by 2030, when Canada gets to its target of 1.76% of GDP. What a crock. Anyway, before I say something that I'm going to regret, guys, if you like this video, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're not. Still would love to get to that 1,000 subscribers. And comment, because I love talking to you guys in the comments down below. So thanks very much, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.